right, let's go ahead and get started with today's webinar. My first name is Marissa. I'll be going over the demonstration. First off, I want to let you know that there is a question box, so feel free to type in any questions that you may have as we go through the webinar today. Open that up just so that I don't miss any questions. Okay, so it is 1 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get started. So first off, I want to introduce you to the Covisum process. So here at Covisum, we do have a process with our software. It's to take a free trial, get to know the software, see if it is something that'd be a good fit for you, become a subscriber. So if you do end up being a full subscriber, we'll go over today what that all includes and what that looks like with SmartRisk. And you also get ongoing support with the software. So if there's any questions ever about a certain case, or maybe you're just not sure why a certain output is coming out the way it is on the report, you get full access to the support team during the trial and as a full subscriber. So know that you get access to that. Okay. We also are going to keep providing you with a bunch of other marketing materials. So along through the software, we're not going to just sell you a software, we're also going to sell you how to get that message out to the public and how to be successful and have SmartRisk pay for itself. Okay, so first off, I just want to introduce you to our Covisum website. So here you're going to find the software that we offer, our blog, a little bit about our team, and also the school that we offer. So first off, I am going to show you the different software that we have available. So we do offer 3 softwares here. We have our tax clarity software. So this software is, we just actually pushed a huge update with the new tax law that we just put in place. And so everything is up to date in regards to that new tax law, along with all the marketing materials. So if it is something that you are using, talking about taxes in your practice, it's a great software. It's super easy for clients to understand how to use it and what their tax situation may look like. Okay, so really this software shows it'll help you identify dangerous points where one additional dollar of income can push them into a higher tax bracket. So we do offer free trials on all 3 softwares. So if you are interested, take a free trial. Okay. So our Social Security timing software was our first software that we launched, and it shows clients how the timing of their Social Security claiming decision can cost them or save them thousands of dollars. So, oftentimes clients typically think that taking their benefit as early as possible is the best strategy, and that's not always the case. So we built this software so you can show them different opportunities and how they can actually have their benefit be much larger if they were to take it as early as possible. Okay. And then our SmartRisk is what we're all here for, and so we designed this specifically for financial advisors to help you set proper downside expectations with your clients when it comes to how much risk they hold in their portfolios. Okay, so we'll go over that more in depth. Before I jump right into SmartRisk, I do want to mention our blog. So feel free, if you are going to become a subscriber, take or register for our blog. It's going to keep you up to date on what we're doing here at Covisum, any kind of updates, new tax laws or any other laws that are passed. We'll keep you up to date here. Also providing you with different marketing content, different resources that are available to you, and also just what's going on in your industry. So what are other advisors doing that you'd like to hear about? So we keep that all up to date in our blog. Okay. So now that I've kind of showed you all that, I do want to jump right into SmartRisk and tell you what it's all about. So this is our home screen when we get logged in to SmartRisk. So what's different about it? So SmartRisk uniquely measures portfolio risk that is diversified away during a down market. Other risk software out there really underestimate risk and puts advisors in that undesirable position. Today I'm going to show you how SmartRisk is going to help you position your business grow when there is that next dip. Okay, so the agenda for today, I'm going to show you how to set up modeled portfolios. I'll quickly add a client and show you the value or how quick it is to be able to upload that client. I'll go over the results screen with you, and then I'll also show you how to export a file, how to get that report. So first off, getting started, you're going to have your customizations down here, so you can set the trial up, and as if you are a full subscriber, you will be able to set this up to look the part. So you can change the upload your logo, you can change the color theme, and a lot of our softwares are set up for demonstration purposes. So a lot of advisors pull this up on their big screen on their monitor, or just have it pulled up right in front of their client as they're entering in this information. And so we do hide all of your clients in all of our software, so it is something that if you do have it pulled up, they aren't going to be able to see any of your other clients in here. Okay? All right, so I'm going to show you how, first things that you're going to want to do is go in here and set up some of your own modeled portfolios. Okay, so I'm just going to click on model portfolios. I do have 3 set up in here for demonstration purposes. So you can see I have my aggressive and the different symbols that are associated, and then their percent in there. So it does have to equal 100% in there. Okay. So pretty straightforward there. You will want to set these up first, and it's important because when we get to adding our client, we plug in the client's information, we will be able to pull in our side-by-side comparison with our own models. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to enter in a client. So super easy here, just click add a client, and there's a few ways of doing so. So one being you can enter them in manually. Other ways we import with Redtail. Another, we just actually updated a few more other resources within SmartRisk. So if you can enter in like a sample name here. So I'm just going to enter in John Doe. And you can see that we can also import from eMoney, Riskalyze, and Morningstar. So if you use any of these vendors, you can actually go to, Riskalyze, export a client's file, and drag and drop right into this system, and then it'll pull in all their accounts. Okay. If you want to upload your client's information CSV, so you can do that as well. Just drag and drop in there. Okay. And if you have any more questions on these, our support team will be able to help you, walk you through the steps on how to get this information out of these vendors and drop it into our file. Okay. They don't need to be in a specific template or anything like that. Just drag and drop. We've already done all the work for you. Okay, but for today, I'm gonna use Redtail to import a client that I already have in here. So you will just need your Redtail credentials, username, password. Let that load up there. So I'm going to use a client, Sarah. When you type that client in, you will have to click the little search engine here to look up that client. Okay, and you can see I have a lot of other Sarahs in here, but this is the Sarah Aiden that I want. So you'll select that client. I'll actually pull in Sarah's account information from Redtail, her total balance. Then it's going to ask you a drop down on what account is it. So is it qualified, a non-qualified? What kind of account is it? Okay, so I'm just going to click qualified. And it's actually going to walk you through the wizard. So this is where it is if you weren't importing from Redtail or eMoney or anything like that. This is what it would look like manually. So first name, last name, marital status, enter account information, Okay, so it's going to start to pull in all that information if you are importing. So you can see I have Sarah's qualified accounts up here. I have all the different assets that are pulling in. Okay. Now, if Sarah did bring you an old statement, you can always switch this to enter in the market value and go up here and change that statement date, and this will automatically update that based on that statement date that you put in here. Okay, so you can only do that if you enter in the market value. So go ahead next, and so then it's going to bring you to our folder. So this is when, if and when they don't have any more accounts, they have no non-qualified accounts, everything imported in nicely. We're going to go ahead and move to our risk questionnaire page. So our risk questionnaire page is really straightforward, and it's really designed to drive that stake into the ground with that client, making sure they understand how much risk they want in their portfolio. So you can see for Sarah's portfolio, we have her total portfolio amount up here, and asking the question, in a bad quarter, how much could you tolerate to lose? So this is where we could drag that blue dot across this board here, be able to tell Sarah how much she could possibly lose if we were to have another dip. Okay, so same thing for in a bad year. How much could she tolerate to lose? So I've selected 13% and 31% for this client. And this will be important once we get to the results screen. So this questionnaire page is really going to make sure that we're setting proper downside expectations with the client, letting them know if and when the next dip happens, this is the potential you could lose. Are you okay with that? Okay, so now we get to our results screen here. So a results screen makes it easy for you to have that risk discussion with your client. So if you're looking to grow your business, the marginal value of just one additional client easily pays for SmartRisk for the next 5 years. Okay. So a couple things. When we get to the results screens, you'll notice over on the left-hand side, we're going to have all the different accounts. So if Sarah was married, she would actually, her spouse's information would be under here as well. Also, if she had any non-qualified accounts. So if Sarah is upon retirement, maybe she wants to be a little bit more conservative with certain accounts, and you're allowed to do that with some of your own models that you've put in prior to this. Or if it is that she wants to be a little bit more aggressive, you can always reallocate to those models that you would recommend. Okay, so know that that's there for you. So first off, we're going to look at the notifications. So over on the right-hand side, you're going to see a few notifications. So the first one is your risk is too high compared to your preferences. And so your client's portfolio, basically what it's saying is that it's riskier than what they're comfortable with based on the responses of that risk questionnaire. So we asked them, hey, in a bad quarter, how much can you tolerate to lose? So when we look at our portfolio risk, you can see that in a bad year, this is what Sarah said that she was comfortable with, this gray shaded area in the red. And what the portfolio is actually saying is that she holds, it's too high compared to her preferences, and it actually holds about 41.85%. So it was 31% is what she said she was comfortable with, and that's why we're getting that alert. Same thing within a quarter. So you can see over here that this is what she said she was comfortable with, and this is how much it's out by. Of course, the blues are averages based on all of her assets on a household view, and then the greens are our gains. Okay. So it's really letting her know that, hey, with what you've told me so far, we need to take a look at this and reevaluate because this is way out of your preference. Our next one is reward to risk. So there's no issue here. It's just really asking yourself, is the client getting paid for the risk that they're taking? And in this case, they are. So there's no alert. And then no single name concentration. So your client has one single holding that could sink the portfolio by itself in one day. And in this case, we don't have that situation. Okay? So then I want to scroll down here and look at our drawdown analysis. So our drawdown analysis is going to show what this portfolio would have done back in 2008, 2009, and how much money it would have lost. So really just a good visual for the client to understand what this would have done. Again, we know that the same crisis never happens, and we can never say never, because anything is possible, but letting them know during the last dip, this is what would have happened. And you can see looking to the future what it has done since then. Okay, and then we get to my favorite part, so the asset interaction. So I'm going to simply ask you a quick question on how do you know that the models that you develop, your model portfolios, are diversified? And why do we diversify in the first place? So we diversify to reduce risk. Our goal is to make sure that all of our portfolio assets don't move together, especially during times of risk. So this is why we designed the asset interaction into SmartRisk. It allows you to be able to communicate with your client and let them understand how their portfolio is set up. But most importantly, and I'll stress on this a lot, is during times of stress. So in other words, if we were in the middle of a drawdown, what percentage of their overall portfolio risk is diversified away? And so in this situation, 12% of their risk is diversified away. So that's going to land them in a focused portfolio. Okay. So from 0 to 16 is going to land them in a focus. From 16 to 60 is going to be diversified, and then 60 to 100 is going to land them in a hedged. And the reason for this, again, is really just to be able to show them how their portfolio was set up. And when we're landing in a focused portfolio, this means that all of their assets have a tendency of moving together. So you can see when we look back at our 2008-2009 crisis, the reason why it dropped so much and why they lost so much is because all of their assets moved together. Okay? So I always get the question, is one better than the other? So is hedge better than focus? Is diversified better? So absolutely not. So if we knew in the next 5 years it was going to be a bull market, we'd want to stay in a focused portfolio. That way all of our assets were at growth. Okay? Now, if we knew in the next 6 months it was going to be absolutely horrible, we'd want to stay in a hedge portfolio. That way all of our assets could perfectly offset each other. But certainly we wouldn't want to be hedged in good times and bad times be in a focused portfolio. So ultimately, this part of SmartRisk is just informational for you and your client. Really for you to see how your portfolios are set up and what do they do during times of stress. It helps them understand portfolio diversification, and so that you can show them based on real risk matrix and not based off like old x-ray maps or different holdings and different assets, or if they have certain bonds and assets and or certain stocks and bonds. It doesn't matter how many of those they have, it's what they do together during times of stress. So that way you can plug this in and be able to show them what's going on. Okay, we do have a couple more videos within our settings tab that explain this. So if it is that maybe you want more information on how we come up with the math and how we determine this, we do have an article out there for you guys. Okay. So I'm going to go back up here, and now I'm going to show you, now I've kind of went over the whole results screen with you. I want to show you what it looks like when we bring in some of our own models. Okay, so I'm going to go up here and it says, what would you like to compare? So I'm going to reallocate all accounts to one model since I'm on that household view. Be a drop down, it'll let you select any of your models. Now, if you have a ton of models, you can always upload those CSV as well. I didn't mention that earlier. So I know some advisors have a ton of them. Otherwise, I would just start off with like the ones that you use most frequently and put those in. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to compare this to my moderate portfolio here. And you can see right off the bat, we have our client's information and then what we're proposing. So you can see over here that we're much more in line with their preferences when it comes to the year. And when we look at the quarter view, we're still out of line with their preference, but it's a lot. We've reduced that risk a ton more than what they had in their portfolio. Okay. And we also can see when we're looking at this is our average return. So our average returns, I was able to get that up a little bit for you, but on the year as well, I've made that go up about 1% there. So being able to show them what your model is compared to the models that they're using right now, or how their portfolio is set up. Okay, so you're going to see we're going to have our notification. So we're still going to get that your risk is too high compared to preferences because we're not in line with them yet. Now, if we were in line with them, we would not get that notification. Okay, so a quick question, or I always like to mention this too. So we do this on a quarterly basis and a yearly basis because typically your client gets a quarterly statement, and we know that advisors typically meet with their clients once a year to do their annual review with them. So that's why we like to give them a quick snapshot of what their quarter and their year looks like. Okay, so when we look at our other notifications here, again, no reward to risk issues and no single name concentration. But then we also take a look at the drawdown with our models versus theirs. So you can see that ours didn't drop too drastically like theirs did back in that time. And the reason being for that is because of our interaction, our asset interaction. What do those assets do during times of stress? Well, yours are in a focused portfolio. They're 12% diversified away, and they all have a tendency of moving together, versus how my models are set up is they're more diversified. They offset each other's risk during a down market, so they don't all move together. Okay. So just to recap, you can pull in different models here, and if it is that they have different accounts here, you can always reallocate to different models per account. So if it is that she wants to be more conservative with her 1040 or more aggressive with her 1040, you can show them what that looks like. And this is always going to give us our household view of how much risk they hold in their total portfolio. So that is the ins and outs of SmartRisk. I should go back and show you how to run a quick report here. So up in the right-hand corner here, you can generate a PDF. And if we were to do that, I will show you what that report looks like. It basically goes over everything that we just went over, but on a report that they can leave with. And then once you're a full subscriber, you will actually be able to download that PDF and brand it. So you can add all of your contact information. You can add your logo, all of that good stuff. Any custom disclosures you want to add, you can use all of that. Same with any of the other marketing materials. So once you are a full subscriber, you're going to get access to our PowerPoint presentation for seminars. We also have a client-facing brochure that some advisors like to hand that out during their client service meeting or those seminars. And then we also give you a marketing planning event as well. So being able to go over the different things that come along with that. So feel free to generate a PDF and take a look at that. And then I'm going to hold up and just see if anyone has any questions before I move on. We're pretty much at the end here. I just want to make sure that no one else has any questions. So how much is SmartRisk? So SmartRisk is $49.99 a month. Now, if you purchase, we do have a bundling discount. So if you purchase all three of our softwares, you can get all three for $120 a month. So you get 20% off each product. And that way you're only paying $40 a month per product. Okay. Or, yep, if you pay for it annually, it would be $1,200 for a year for all three, or $500 if you're going to do SmartRisk standalone. And then, David, I see your question come through. Let me ask about that. I don't want to give you like a wrong answer there, but I will see if it does take in consideration FIAs or if it's just different securities. So I'll get back to you. I can always shoot you over an email with more information on that. Okay, and then let's see here. I have a couple more people typing, so I'll let you guys type those in. So I had another question that comes in that says, how are you guys different than Riskalyze? So the main difference, I know Riskalyze, they have a ton of features that they offer to their to advisors. The biggest difference is really what's underneath the hood. So we use a completely different algorithm when it comes to risk. So I know that they use the Gaussian distribution, the 95% Gaussian distribution, and we use the fat tails. So that's really going to be the main difference. Completely different math. Again, I do have a white paper I can send over to you, Phil, and anyone else that is interested in the white paper, I can send that to you too. But basically, it just goes over why we use the certain standard deviation that we do use, and how different that bell curve is when it comes to the math. Okay. And then another question is are there pre-built models? So if you don't use your own models, we do recommend that you. I'm trying to think of what that place is. Okay, so it's LSA Portfolio Analytics. So they have, you can purchase some of their models, and you can always go to their website. And I think you can purchase one-off models, or if you want like a bundle of different models, you can use them. So again, that's LSA Portfolio Analytics. If you don't use some of your own pre-built models. Okay. Good question. So there is another question that came in that says, I use your Social Security timing software. Is there a microsite for SmartRisk? Not yet, but we are working on building that. So the microsite, if you guys aren't too familiar with it, everyone else that's on the call, is basically a landing page where you can post that special URL. It's a link that you can post on like your social media accounts and your LinkedIn and stuff like that. A way for you to gain prospects, and it'll ask them a flow of questions to be able to give them like a quick risk analysis without giving them too much information, so that you can pull them into your office and have that risk discussion with them. So yes, it is coming. I know that they are working on that along with tax clarity as well. Alrighty, so if there's no more questions, actually I just had one more come in. It says, why do you only go back to 2006? Why can't we go back further on that drawdown? Let me pull that back up here. Yes, so the reason being for the drawdown analysis is I believe we go back to January 2006 because it's this length of time is statistically significant, and from a statistical sampling point of view, going back to 2006 gives us enough data to estimate risk. Gosh, say that 5 times. Statistically significant. So yeah, that's the reason being for the reason why we only go back to that certain time period. After that, it really just becomes irrelevant, and we have enough data from then to now to be able to tell you what those assets have done. Okay. Well, if you haven't yet, feel free to take a 10-day free trial on our software. You do, again, get full access to the support team. You can run as many reports as you want. Plug in some of your own models and kind of see what those look like during how much risk that they hold. Go from there. And Phil, I will send over that white paper to you so you can take a look at that. And then if there's any other questions, just feel free to reach out to us. If you want to join us for tomorrow's webinar around the same time, we'll be going over tax clarity. So we'll be going over the new tax law and how financial advisors use tax clarity in their practice without giving tax advice. So pretty short, about 30, sometimes it goes to 35 minutes on there. Okay. So always give us a call if you have any other questions at that 877-844-7213. And David, I will reach out to you and email you the correct answer on those FIAs, okay? Alrighty, I hope you guys all have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.